Welcome back to the Airborne Podcast. I'm your host, Ajit. Big Boy Bravs with us. We got Thanos back on the channel. We're back with another quick video on a possible trade that could happen before the trade deadline. It's the one and only, the G.R.O.A.T, the greatest Raptor of all time, Bravs' favorite player, Kyle Lowry. Now, a few articles have come out in the past few days about a potential trade for Kyle Lowry going to possible contenders because of the way the Raptor season has gone. And, you know, right before the All-Star break, the Raptors got hit with some serious COVID issues, health and safety protocol, and we've dropped 5 in a row now, possibly 6 going into the Detroit game. But, you know, this has been a similar story that's been going around about the Raptors since the beginning of the season, since losing Marc Gasol and Serge Ibaka. The Raptors have not been performing at the elite level that they have in the past 7 years. So I'm going to throw it to you, Bravs. There's 2 teams. I'm going to list both of them. I'm going to list a potential trade for both teams, and I'm going to tell you which one, or I'm going to ask you which one you'd rather go for if you were a Raptors fan. So the 2 teams are the Miami Heat, who have fought their way back into the 4th seed in the Eastern Conference, and then you got Philadelphia, who's mainly been in the top of the East for the most part of the season. So out of those 2 teams, who would you rather see him go to before I list the potential trades?
I think Miami, just because I feel like we may play Philly sometime down the stretch, and I'd rather not play the G.R.O.A.T. But I think Miami would be a perfect fit in the sense that I just don't think the pieces we get back from Philly will be a good fit for our system. Like Matisse Thybulle, I keep messing his name up. You know, Thybulle. I just think Matisse Thybulle had hype going to the season. I think people thinking, you know, this guy would be like a hidden gem, like a Fred VanVleet, but he hasn't really lived up to this hype. You know, he's been really quiet this season. So I think Miami, I think you're going to label who the pieces are shortly, but I think Miami may have better pieces that fit what we need. For example, Kelly Olynyk and if lucky, maybe Andre Iguodala. I doubt they'll do that, but if we can get that, that'd be dope. Jimmy Butler and Kyle Lowry will be happy playing with each other. So I think the best potential candidate for both Kyle Lowry and for us would be Miami.
Before you jump in, I just wanted to say Andre Iguodala, I don't think would come part of that deal just because, you know, when he got traded to Miami from Memphis, he didn't want to be on a non-contender, which is what the Toronto Raptors would be if we did give up on Kyle Lowry and send him off to either Miami or Philly. Matisse Thybulle, on the other hand, even though he hasn't performed up to his expectations, I feel like he hasn't also gotten the opportunity because they got so many forwards on that team, right?
That's true. Yeah, I agree. You're right.
And I feel like the Raptors only got OG, Pascal, and really Norman Powell, but he's more of a shooting guard. So I feel like Thybulle has the opportunity to come off the bench and do what he can do, which is be a defensive anchor like an OG Anunoby, who has a solid 3-point shot, could possibly be maybe a Ron Artest in the future, yeah. Or if we want to really bring his expectation to an elite level, maybe a Kawhi Leonard if possible, but that's what we're expecting OG to possibly be in a few years. The trade that Miami would offer us for Kyle Lowry, based on what I've seen in the reports, is Kelly Olynyk, Goran Dragic, and Kendrick Nunn. The only problem is that Dragic has a no trade clause in his contract so that he could actually void this from coming to Toronto. That's the only issue.
That's fine. I don't really care for Goran Dragic, to be honest. So we have Malcolm Flynn, we have Fred VanVleet. I believe in them. If you don't get a PG, that's fine. These two would hold on for it.
But that's the thing, though. We need Dragic in that offer because to match salary, right? Otherwise, we'll be able to make it work.
It's true, but I'm just saying. Yeah, no, for sure.
I would like them to sweeten the deal and put in Duncan Robinson. That's the only way I'd be okay with this trade.
Maybe we can throw Matt Thomas a 3-pointer for a 3-pointer.
I was saying let's just ship out Terrence Davis with Kyle Lowry.
Yeah, I'll do that in a heartbeat.
I would say Kyle Lowry and Terrence Davis shipped out to Miami for Kendrick Nunn, Duncan Robinson, Goran Dragic, and Kelly Olynyk. That seems like a pretty viable trade, right? I would take that. And Jimmy Butler is also best friends with Kyle Lowry. So, I know Jimmy Butler's pushing for this trade to get. I know he doesn't want to give up on Dragic because he's formed a relationship with him as well.
Yeah.
But if you can upgrade that point guard position and get a guy like Kyle Lowry, who's been to the finals, who's been performing at an elite level in the playoffs, I mean, why not take that shot? But I don't know.
Yeah.
No, for sure.
Anuja, what do you think about that trade? Would you do it?
Yeah, I would do that trade, but I mean, I don't like both of the teams. Like I said in the previous video, like the one trade I'd be down for is the Denver Nuggets trade with RJ Hampton and thing. But I mean, if it did come down to one of those two teams, I wouldn't mind either one, to be honest. Yeah, like because like both of them have young talent. Like Miami has Chris Dunn, like you said, Duncan Robinson. If he's thrown in the trade, I'd be down for that. And like what Brad said, Iguodala, but he probably wouldn't want to be on our team. But Sixers, they have Maxey, they have Thibault, Korkmaz. Yeah, like honestly, I would be down for either one.
Shake Milton.
Yeah, Shake Milton.
Oh yeah, Milton, he's good too. Well,
Yeah,
he's good against the Raptors.
Yeah.
The one thing about the Philadelphia trade, like you said, Bravs, they're in our division, they're division rivals. So if Kyle Lowry does get sent home from us in a trade, we're going to see him 4 times a year until he retires. That's the only problem. With Miami, we're going to see him 3 times. But I feel like regardless whether he comes back and smokes us every time, if we're going to go towards this rebuild, I feel like the Philadelphia trade makes a lot more sense because those guys are a little bit younger.
Yeah, it's true.
Duncan Robinson is around Fred VanVleet's age. I think he's like 26 or something.
Oh, gee, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's 26. He's been in the league. He just never played. Like he was on the Miami Heat's bench a couple years ago. He just didn't play. And with Kendrick Nunn, he's been in the G League for a bit, so he's like 25 years old. But they, the only positive is that they still match around the Raptors' core age group, so they're not that old. They're not that old, so it's okay. But Kelly Olynyk on the Miami side, he's 30 years old.
Yeah, geez, yeah.
And that's like Tristan Thompson's age. And then on top of that, you got Goran Dragic, who's 35 almost.
Oh, shit. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and he's on he has the power to void this deal, like I mentioned earlier, but he's only guaranteed this year, so he's more than likely a rental, and he'll probably try to find his way out, maybe opt out and try to go to a contender for like a minimal contract.
No, F that.
With the Philadelphia trade, though, this would be the deal that we would get offered. I saw this on one of these podcasts recently where someone's like, they want to see Kyle Lowry go back home with the way the Raptors are performing this season. And then we would get your boy Danny Green back in a trade. We'd get
Wait, come on. Before you go, I want to say something. Like, I don't want people thinking like because we're having a bad year that it's a quick write-off. You know what I mean? Like a little flashback to what we spoke about last podcast with the whole Warriors stuff, right? They took a year break, they came back, and look, they're doing somewhat well this year, right? Even though it's not what you expect from the Warriors, they're still within the playoff contention, if I'm not mistaken, right? So like I'm tired of people just writing off the Raptors saying, they're doing shit this year. We still have another half a season to go. We had 3 or 4 of our best players out because of COVID. So hopefully they turn it around, right? I think 2 of them return back tonight. So hopefully we turn shit around. But I just think, I think Masai believes in the squad. I think we can make some splash. I'm just tired of all this bashing against the Raptors because of one first half F up.
Well, one thing is that they only got to come back to practice today.
Oh. No way.
And so more than likely they're probably not going to play. If we get lucky, fingers crossed they do, but it's a very low chance. And
OG's not playing. He's going to probably play the next game.
Yeah, OG's listed out. What I want to say,
he needs one of them back. You know what I mean?
What I want to say was the Golden State point. What you were saying was that they took a year off and now they're in that playoff hunt.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about I'm not just talking about playoff hunt. I'm talking about title contender. We're not a title contender. We don't got the superstar power that Golden State has. That's why they were willing to take that year off so that they save these superstars' legs for an actual run because they feel like they have 1 or 2 years left to do another push for a title.
Yeah.
And the Raptors lost their main pieces to go for that run. Like, we don't have a superstar on our team. As much as we want to give that label on Pascal Siakam, he hasn't proven it since Kawhi's left.
He's been proven it since the bubble started. You know what I mean? Like, even before the bubble, he was doing really well before the bubble.
But what I'm saying is, like, he hasn't proven it when it matters most. You could talk about him performing in the regular season, but that doesn't translate to a championship, right?
That's true. That's true.
Since our Raptors roster won the championship in 2019, we tried to make him the number one option. But even though at the beginning of the season he did perform following year, but after that he's been, for the most part, inconsistent.
Oh, for sure.
For Philadelphia, I did want to get back to that trade that I was trying to mention before you had your point to say. What we'd get back in return for Kyle Lowry is your boy Danny Green coming back with this podcast to Toronto. The man still hasn't got his championship ring from either us or the Lakers. But Shake Milton, Matisse Thybulle would be the main piece in that. Mike Scott and a first-round pick.
I don't mind Mike Scott.
No, I wouldn't do that trade. I need Maxey on that deal.
Maxey and Thybulle?
Happen. Yeah, Maxey and Thybulle, yeah.
I was hoping they'd throw Seth Curry, but they're not going to do that the way he's shooting the ball.
Yeah.
If they give me Thybulle and then give me Howard or like a big in there, maybe you throw in a draft pick as well, I'll think about it. But I don't think they're giving up too much though.
I don't think they're going to give up Dwight Howard, especially with Joel Embiid right now.
Yeah.
With the knee injury.
For sure. But that's them, yo. Kyle Lowry will get you rebounds and charges. So, there you go.
Masai's not going to pull the trigger unless the deal's good. He knows how much Lowry's worth and how much he's done for this team. So, I mean, until he sees a good deal, then we'll see.
I don't think he's going to blindside him with any of these trades, but I do feel like
he's going to let him know. Yeah.
But I do feel like if he were to present these two opportunities or these two options to Lowry, I don't feel like he would be upset with either one. I think he'd be willing to go to Miami, and he'd definitely be willing to go back home.
Yeah.
The thing is, he's not going to pull the trigger unless he feels like we either won the deal or it was an even trade, right?
Mm-hmm.
So before we end this podcast, I did want to ask you guys, just to make sure we're all on the same page. Will the Philadelphia trade, the Raptors would send Kyle Lowry for Danny Green, Mike Scott, Shake Milton, Matisse Thybulle, and a first-round pick? What do you guys think?
No,
I think it's too much. Like, we might have to give up more for it, right? I'm sure they want something else along with Kyle Lowry for all that, right? But I don't want, like, I just don't think.
No.
I'm saying we're saying it's not. We're saying it's less for us. It's not worth it for us, not for them.
No. That's what I'm saying. I think that this trade, the four guys, it's Shake Milton, Thybulle,
Danny Green, Mike Scott.
And Mike Scott. Danny Green and Mike Scott alone are going to be riding the bench. You know what I mean? Like, those two alone, right? Like, Danny Green isn't going to be the same guy he was with the Raptors, right? Like, we don't need all those guys on our squad.
They also threw a first-round pick in there.
Do you know if it's protected or something?
They didn't explain it specifically, but it just says that they'll throw a first-round pick. I would say screw the first-round pick and just throw in Tyrese Maxey. So we're all saying no to the Philadelphia?
Yeah.
As currently constructed, that trade is a veto, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the Miami trade, Kelly Olynyk, Goran Dragic, and Kendrick Nunn coming to Toronto while we send Kyle Lowry to the Miami Heat. What do you guys think about this trade?
I honestly feel like it's a bit better than the Philly trade, but I'm still gonna say no to this trade too, because the fact that Dragic is going to be a 1-year rental.
Yeah.
And we're not getting any picks either. Kendrick Nunn. I don't know how. Like,
it's not even a 1 year. It's not even a 1 year rental. It's like 2
months. Like half a season. Yeah, it's like.
For sure. No.
Pretty much.
It's a no for me as well.
For the Miami, so either one of these trades you're not about?
No, throw in a better piece in there.
What did they say, bro? We want Kyle Lowry so desperately. We'll throw in Tyler Hero with Kendrick Nunn.
Let's do it.
Oh yeah, I would probably do that. Yeah.
So they're not going to do that. They're not going to do that.
They wouldn't.
Tyler Hero's untouchable. They're not going to do that.
I would call Denver Nuggets and see what's popping.
Word. Okay. He was RJ Hampton, yo.
They're not doing all that. If anything, they're not going to do it for Kyle Lowry. They'll probably do it for Pascal Siakam.
Oh, yo, we should hit the Warriors. Ask him for Wiggins.
No, no, no. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good.
He is defending a lot better, and he's like blocking bare shots from what I've seen in games.
Yeah, but he's.
I was talking shit. I was talking to a Jeet earlier about Wiggins, about a Wiggins trade, and then
I'd rather do Shea, to be honest.
He was talking about Wiggins trade, and I hung up the phone before he even finished saying this. No, but honestly though, with the Miami Heat, I feel like, and the Philadelphia 76ers, you throw in Tyrese Maxey into that trade, and for the Philadelphia trade, and if you throw in Duncan Robinson for the Miami trade, I would do either or. That's the only way I'm doing it. But as currently constructed as the offers I gave you to pick between, yeah, I don't think either one of those are worth it for Kyle Lowry.
No, it's not.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for this podcast. I appreciate everyone tuning in. Hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel. Make sure you do, because we post lit videos every single day. And we'll be back with the Raptors post-game podcast after the Detroit game. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we get more players back in the roster, because we need a W desperately, a much-needed win desperately. We'll be watching that, and we'll come back and give our final takes on that. But till then, stay blessed, stay woke, and please stay safe. Peace.